you live with us today. We are a business, mentor, and media collective sharing stories of influential women, trailblazers, and business leaders who have defined and pursued their own versions of success and fulfillment. And I am very excited to have Gabby Male with us today. Welcome, Gabby.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Absolutely. You're just one of those women that I'm very impressed with, and it's just an honor to chat with you today. For those of you joining, Gabby started a company as a sophomore in high school, has grown it to a very successful business, and has been considered an influencer on Instagram. But she is going to talk to us about why collaboration over competition, and that influencer is not the glamorous life it looks like it is, but entrepreneurship is hard. And she's going to share with us just some of the lessons she's learned in growing her business. Some of the really real shit that happens, and how she built a new company with her boyfriend during quarantine. So, Gabby, we have so much to cover. I'm super excited to be with you today.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. I'm ready to dive right in and talk about all of it.
Yes, awesome. So give us a quick little bio for anyone that may not already be familiar with you. But tell us just a little bit about yourself, and then I want to talk about kind of your journey of getting to where you are.
Yeah. So I always struggle with my bios just because I don't have, I guess my title is entrepreneur because I do a lot of different things. I'm still working on that glamorous title. I'm gonna come up with one soon, but I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a content creator. I'm an influencer. Just because when you have a platform on social media, you have influence, and so I do a lot of things in different spaces, but I've really turned it into a couple different businesses and ventures, and it's really fun.
I love that. One of the things that I really want to touch on today, because I think it's relevant for all of us. So you built a business, and it was very successful. You know, you did it really young, and then you came to a point where you got really real with yourself and decided, you know what, who I'm projecting is not who I am and who I want to be, and going through that personal identity and brand identity pivot point, and what that looks like, because you did lose a lot of audience and following at that time, and how that was the best decision for you, and then when you built, what that looked like. So let's talk a little bit about like, what did it look like to build your business? Like, where were you in your headspace in life when you started your business? And was it just an influencer marketing then, or did you know that you wanted to start a company?
Yeah, so I started my sophomore year of college. I'd gotten back into fitness after going through an eating disorder and what I thought was recovering, but I was really just masking my eating disorder with fitness and health, but it wasn't super healthy. I didn't know that at the time though. So I was working at a gym and I was working out a lot and sharing it on my personal Instagram. And this is back in 2015 when influencers were really like few and far like between. It was not really a thing. And I was posting about my like fitness journey and stuff on Instagram, and I was getting so many messages. And actually my older brother was the one that was like, you should probably like start like a separate page. Like, people are doing that now. Like, they have fitness Instagrams. And I was like, you know what, let's try it. And so I
I
started
love the encouragement from
I
your
know,
brother. That's
he's,
awesome.
he's actually
He's an
been really
empowering
involved.
woman.
Yeah, he's been really involved in my business and stuff, especially in the earlier stages. But I started my fitness Instagram my sophomore year of college. And from there, it just really snowballed because I was getting so many questions. And naturally, when in the fitness space, when you get questions, it kind of leads you down the path of maybe I should do personal training. Maybe I should do
Mm.
online personal training, because all these people ask me questions. They don't necessarily live around me. I can't train them in person, but I can train them online. And so I kind of just started my own little online personal training business and health coaching business. And I did like spring challenges and summer challenges. And my business was really focused on fitness. And as I grew and as I changed in my personal journey and realized I hadn't really fully recovered from my eating issues,
Yeah.
when I finally found food freedom and self-love and self-acceptance, and not like, I'm very like anti-dieting now. And when I finally let go of that, my business had to shift too, because it was still so
Right.
centered around fitness. And when I finally let that go, like you said, it was like an identity crisis. I kind of had always been known as the fit girl, the fit one, the girl you go to for fitness. And I was suddenly dropping that. And a lot of people followed me for fitness and health advice. And so, yeah, it was really difficult.
What did it look like? So you start this Instagram and you're getting a lot of attention, but attention isn't dollars, right? You can't build a business on attention or followers. What did it look like when you started making money? How did you monetize this passion and an Instagram page that you had?
Yeah, so originally it was creating a digital product. So for me, that was workout PDFs, and which is a great business model because those are free technically. Like there's no inventory, there's
It
no
didn't cost you anything
exactly. And
that
as a
other than your time. Okay.
and as a college student, that was really great because I didn't have much overhead except for just my own time. So it was a lot of workout PDFs and challenges, like fitness challenges, one-on-one coaching, that kind of model. And it was a lot of just me and clients, or me and my audience. But as it's shifted and changed, and as my personal page grew over time, companies started asking me to promote things, and I started getting more of the influencer kind of, and just times were changing as we went from 2015 to 2018, 2019. Influencer marketing became a thing, and I was
Right.
really at the beginning of that and kind of watched that develop slowly over time. And as I was growing, it was growing as a form of marketing, which was really cool to kind of see how it has grown and how much it's completely changed in the past couple of years. So I would say at the beginning of my journey, it was really just me and digital products, and kind of just, I didn't really, again, imposter syndrome, didn't really think I was like doing a full business. It was kind of just like, oh yeah, this is something I just do for fun. But when it came to graduation time, I was like, wow, I have a decision to make. Do I want to keep doing this, or do I want to get a job?
Yeah, good job.
What do I do now? And so I knew that I wanted to be my own boss. I actually, not many people know this, but I actually got fired from the gym that I worked at because I was working so much on my personal business, and they just had seen that like I'm not good at having a boss, to be honest. And so
Most of us that are entrepreneurs are not.
yeah. So I knew that I wanted to be my own boss. I had no idea what that looked like though. So that transition from college to now being on my own and having to make those decisions and having to really then actually build a business. And yeah, that was hard. That was really hard because I had no idea like how to work from home successfully and how to do all of those things. Um,
Yeah.
so that transition was really difficult too. And you have, I have a pretty really good support system, but you always have those just thoughts in the back of your mind and people around you being like, really, like, you're really going to do that? Like, are you sure that's safe? Like, what about healthcare? What about 401ks?
Right.
Um,
Well, and
yeah,
let's talk about that for a second, because when you were in college, you know, did you not consider not finishing? And I want to talk a little bit about that, and then the pushback that you got from your advisors
yeah,
on actually making this a business, because you know it's so hard when you have those doubts yourself, but when you have someone that you trust, that you look up to, that also is like breathing doubt into you. I want to talk about how you still push through and what you chose to believe, and how did you choose to believe when you had voices that you trusted telling you that you shouldn't do that.
yeah. So I remember so vividly going into my advisor's office. I have my degree in public health. So I was a public health major with health communications and health promotion as a minor. And so I was kind of in the right area, like with my degree, but I was using it in a different way than what they
Right.
had an idea of how we would use it. And I went in and talked to my advisor. She was actually really great because she was really supportive of what I was doing. And I kind of explained it to her, and she was supportive, but she also had that, I could tell she was like, but like there was that but.
Yeah.
And I remember leaving there, and I think once I left that office, that's when I kind of made the decision, like, I'm not going to do the internships. I'm not even going to entertain that idea, because if I do, I'm creating doubt within myself. I have to be 100% in. I'm a very much like a hell yes or a hell no kind of person. And
I love it.
especially with this, I had to be hell yes, because I had to not only prove to others, but prove to myself that I could do it. And on the point of how did I like push through that and get that belief in myself, I've always had this like, I think I've always had this like, I've always believed in myself, to be honest. Like it's something that I think my parents really drilled into me, and just they made me very independent and kind of told me that I can do anything, because they're immigrants and have created their own life, and I've seen them, like, their success story and not doing it the traditional way. And so I did have a great support system. However, as much as you believe in yourself and as much as you can tell yourself that you're going to do great and it's going to be awesome, there is always going to be that little gremlin just sitting on your
Mhm,
shoulder,
yeah.
like, just telling you, like, but what about this? But what about this? You have student loans
Yeah.
to pay off. What about health insurance? What about your car bill? Like, all of these, it was mostly financial, I think, was my doubt and the part that made me scared, because when you're an entrepreneur, there can be a lack of security. You're not getting a
Yes.
week, every 2 weeks a pay stub or monthly pay stub. It's, you're creating your own income, and that can be that was the scariest part for me, was not having the security, because I do have a lot of
Right.
student loans to pay off.
Well, it can be the most freeing and empowering thing, but it can also be really, really terrifying because things can
Yeah.
change
Well, and you don't
very
have a limit
quickly.
then. You have the sky is the limit when you're an
Right,
entrepreneur, because
right.
you're not limited by a paycheck, which is really incredible. And so I really took that idea of, like, I can create whatever I want to now. Like, I have the freedom to do this. And I really use that to motivate me and to fuel me and to push me into creating more and reaching out to more people and putting more time and energy into my content and
Yeah.
really being more vulnerable to reach more people. That's what really fuels me to keep doing what I'm doing, even when it gets really chaotic and gets crazy and can be really hard sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. And I want to encourage the listener that one of the things that you and I had talked about is that, we all learn on the road to success. We all learn the same lessons. We just learn them at different times.
Hmm.
And for someone that's like as older than me, can get kind of seeing someone so successful at your age, you're like, oh man, I can't be that successful at 22. I can't go backwards. But the truth is, like, you learned so many lessons as a child
Hmm.
because you learned it and saw it from your parents. And I didn't have that, right? Like, I didn't have the parents that I saw be successful. I had to, like, find that outwardly. And so but what I am really impressed with too is you learned all those lessons. You did have self-confidence. You saw that success, but you still had doubts of your own. You still had self-doubt. You still have imposter syndrome. So I think that that's just it's like, it's just human, right? We
Hmm.
have those doubts. So I want to talk a little bit about now, even after you left college and you were growing your business, what do you do in the moment when you feel that imposter syndrome creep up? Like, what are the things you do, like, in general, and then, like, in the moment, how do you fight that doubt and that fear?
Yeah. A lot of times, I have to sit back and ask myself what's actually happening here, because I've noticed throughout my history with feeling this way, if I hear those thoughts creeping up, it's usually not actually about my business or anything about having imposter syndrome. It's usually more about, am I feeling anxious because taxes are due soon and I'm feeling
Mm,
financially anxious? And so then it's kind of creating this doubt from another place. Was I scrolling on Instagram earlier and I saw someone who's super successful and doing something that I wish I could do, and then that planted a seed of doubt? I have to ask myself, where is this actually coming from besides me? Because this
that's
idea
good.
was given to me. I didn't create this idea. It's been given to me from somewhere. And so, and if I
Wow.
can figure out where that came from, just kind of backtracking and be like, do I need to maybe unfollow this person? Do I need to do a cleanse of my social media? Do I need to sit down and actually, like, just kind of work through these thoughts of, like, where these things are? Is there someone in my life who's planting these seeds of doubt that I maybe need to have a chat with? And really, like, limiting the external source. And then more, like, I guess, practical, like, in those moments too. I'm a big journaler. I like, writing is a way of healing to me. And so even just writing down, like, literally what you're feeling right now, like, I feel like I don't have a successful business, or I am really scared about this next launch, or write those things down and then literally cross them out. And even
Mm,
if you don't believe it, rewriting that sentence to be, I am going to have a successful launch. I have an
I love
incredible
it.
business. And just rephrasing and reframing those negative thought loops that we have created in our minds. That is and you can do it in the notes section of
And
your phone.
anytime.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that because I was like, even if you don't have pen and paper, because I was thinking, like, oh my gosh, what if you're in, like, a meeting, or you're in, like, some sort of right outside of an interview, or you're waiting for something? That is such an awesome practice to start in the moment. So that, I mean, gosh, we could end the podcast right now. That's huge. I love it.
Affirmations are
Affirmations is
huge to me.
huge.
Yeah.
I love that. And it's not just like, oh, find a quiet time in the morning for, it's not about that. It's like, this is what you can do like in the moment when you're having that doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So that's awesome. Well, I want to talk a little bit about, so growing your business. So yay, you did the PDFs. You now have companies reaching out to you. So you're starting to have more income. At what point did it stop being just you? Because you were doing everything.
Everything.
You're creating the content, you're posting content, you're dealing with the money side, the negotiations, all of that. So what did that look like when you started to either bring people on or outsource, or what did that look as a business owner?
Yeah, I am very controlling, and that doesn't have to be a bad thing. That can be a good thing, but it also can be a very bad thing. And so I've had to really sit down and kind of make peace with that side of me and realize when it is helping me and when it is hurting me. And there was a point in my business where I was so stressed and like to the point where could not be productive, and I actually started avoiding things and I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And one of my best friends does something very similar to me, and she's grown her business 5 times even bigger than I have. And she said to me, she was like, where can you outsource? What do you hate doing? What is the one part of your business that you absolutely hate? And I instantly said emails. I hate emails. I hate getting all of these emails from companies and going back and forth.
Well, you love getting them, but like the process
of communication and having to respond. And so she was like, you should get a manager. You should get a manager to manage all of the like the influencer side of things, because you don't love that. You love creating the content, but you don't love like negotiating deals and stuff. And it's not my forte. It's not where I'm an expert in. And so I got a manager, and I'm now with a management team, and they're incredible and have literally tripled my income from allowing someone else to take over that part of my business. I would say that's the best business move I've ever made, is getting a manager and just getting help in that area. And then especially when it comes to like creating content and stuff, like, yes, I can get great pictures with my iPhone. Yes, I can do the bare minimum with just my iPhone and just me.
Right.
But content and that side of my business really elevates when I bring in a photographer. When I pay a photographer or a videographer to do what they are experts in and to do what they are great at, to help me create better content, so I can then put an amazing caption to that, or I can put really great meaning to that to impact people's lives. And so I think outsourcing and seeing the positive impact and result that it's had has allowed me then to loosen up the reins in other areas of my business as well. I still can do it better, but I think also too, for people who are just starting, who might not be financially as able, it can be really scary to start paying someone when you feel like maybe even your personal financial security isn't great. But you have to just trust that bringing more people in and allowing more people to help you is going to ultimately grow your business.
And I love that this is coming from I don't use the word control freak, but someone that you do want to do it. You did it all yourself, and it is harder for you to outsource and to let go of that stuff. For me, maybe it's because I'm older and I've been through it. I'm like, nope. On the call right now, I have my producer, Claire, who is amazing. She does podcast producing. I have Bronte, who writes all of my copy, helps me with emails. Kylie does my social media posting. And I'm not as big as you yet. And some people are like, well, you probably outsourced too soon. But I'm like, no, I know what I'm building. And to build something scalable and sustainable, there has to be systems.
And you know how you operate too.
Yes.
Like me and my friend Mick is a great example. She has almost 1 million followers now on social media, and we are very different people in how we operate. Like, I am very much, I will just do it. I will get it done. I will lead a group. I will do this. She's like, take everything. Like, she's like, I will do what I'm good at, and I will let everyone else do everything. And so we balance each other because we own a business together in that way. But she has really helped me with seeing that, like, I can let go. And I've also helped her with seeing, like, there are some things that you don't need to spend the money on that. Like, you can do this,
right. Yes, and learning all that. Let's dive into that a little bit. So, one of the things that when you and I had connected, I loved that you also have this group of women around you that could be your like competitors, right? The other
Hmm.
influencers. But I love that you all like work together. You talk about brands that have you've had a good experience with, brands that have like maybe been challenging, or if you come up to a challenge, you're like, hey, this is what I faced. Have you guys experienced this? I really want you to give you a chance to really talk about what that looks like and how did that get started. And anyone that is an entrepreneur, I want you to like stop and take notes.
Yeah.
Having people around you that you can bounce ideas off of. If you're a 1099, a freelancer, find other freelancers that you can get information from, you know, share stories and really help each other. So tell us a little bit about how did this get started? How did your group kind of form?
Yeah, so it actually was this past year with quarantine and stuff. I think a lot of creators, we already create a lot, but with quarantine, I think we were almost like hyper creating, and so and then people were sharing more and more people were on social media, and so it my best friend Mick, she's always we do very similar stuff, and so she's a part of that. But then we just over time, when you do something very similar to other people, you do come across their page and message back and forth and kind of just create relationships that are really really important, because I can pull ideas from what they've created and they can pull ideas from me, and we can have this amazing rapport with each other and help build each other, which ultimately helps us all at the end of the day. And so
Right.
we kind of all came together and just we were DMing on Instagram, all of us kind of separately, but also in some small groups. And we were like, let's just make a big group chat. And if we can help each other with any brand deals, or if we've had good experiences, bad experiences. If there's a day on Instagram when engagement is really crap, we can complain to each other and see if, hey, are your story views really low today? And kind of just like getting an outside perspective from someone with a similar but different audience has been really
Mhm.
helpful, and also affirming, because there are some times when we do
Yes.
doubt ourselves and you are struggling, or someone sends you a really harsh DM, or you're dealing with a situation, and you can reach out to these women who are doing something very similar to you but live on a completely different side of the country, and you can connect because you guys do similar things. That's not traditional too, because this isn't a traditional
Right.
job. This isn't something that's very typical. It's really nice to like be able to connect with people who get it, because not many people do.
Yes.
And so I think connecting with like vulnerability and connecting on struggles is an amazing way to create relationships, and then you can help each other through it too. So if you're an entrepreneur or a freelancer, like I highly recommend, or if you're an aspiring influencer, like if you are trying to grow your page, reach out to people with similar followings as you and similar audiences as you. And I promise you, collaboration is so
Yes.
much better than competition. I know it may seem like, well, we have the same audience. Like what if we're selling the same thing? I promise you, you will get so much
That
more
you'll
out of
both sell it.
collaborating. Yep, exactly.
Yes, I
It's
love
been
that.
so helpful.
I love it. And the things that did when I was talking to you earlier, it's just this spirit that you have of helping others, and you know, and taking what you learned and being honest about it. And now this is, you know, since you know Brene Brown, and we talk about shame and vulnerability, but I feel like that's something that you naturally do, and that's probably how this group came together. I want to talk about something that we talked about yesterday, as far as like if you're in a if someone's in a hard place, and the quote that you talked about, when you wanted what you have, can you talk to us a little bit about when you have those days where you're looking at your friend that has almost 1 million views, and it's hard to create content when you're not motivated, or you're
Yeah,
not inspired. So
yeah.
talk to us a little bit about like when you read that quote, what it meant to you, and how that kind of shows up for you to remember who you are when you're doubting yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. The quote is remember when you wanted what you currently have. And for me, that it like, I honestly might get it tattooed on my body, because like it was one of those like full stop moments when I heard it, because there's been so many times when I remember in college, like sitting there just like literally yearning for success and yearning for financial freedom and really wanting a bigger platform and a bigger audience. And sometimes I have to stop and I have to tell myself, Gabby, remember when what you currently have right now is literally everything you ever wanted and more. Like you always said to yourself, imagine when you have 100,000 followers. And then you get it, and it's actually not as exciting as you think. It's like, it's just a number. It's really just a number. But the impact of that number, if you choose to use it
Right.
wisely, can be incredible. And as I've grown and as my audience has grown, I've been able to see that impact. And I think for me, on those days when I actually just talked to my therapist about this yesterday, because I'm in a phase right now where I really am kind of in a rut with content creation and not feeling that inspired. And so I have to give myself some grace and remind myself that it's okay. You've been creating for 5 to 6 years now, every single day of your life. It's okay if you have a little bit of time where you don't have something influential to say. And and I need to be the student. And it's something I really have adopted. Today was my first day. I woke up earlier, did some meditation. I started a new book because a lot of times in life we go through these growth phases and we are like reading all the self-help books, reading all the business books. We're like really motivated and excited. And then you almost hit a wall and you just start doing, like you start implementing all these things that you've learned and it's really great. But then you start to go on autopilot. And I think last year really heightened that autopilot, at least for me personally and people that I've talked to. We kind of just like are doing the things until things, air quotes, get better. And I think
Mhm.
that I recently have really realized I need to turn the autopilot off and I need to get present again. And I need to also become a student because I think I've reached a cap with my business and with my personal growth where I need to learn more and I need to be open to learning more because I don't know everything. At all. I know a fraction of everything. And
I love that.
I do. And so I've really sat back. I've bought some books on Audible and I'm ready to be the student again so that I can learn and that I know the second I start listening and doing that work again, the creative juices are going to start flowing.
Absolutely. I want to talk a little bit about the impact because that's one thing that you're really passionate about. You're not creating content just for the sake of creating content. You're doing it to help other people. So give us some stories of some of your followers and your audience that has reached out to you to said, hey, because of you, this changed or this happened. Give us some of those success stories that you have.
I am so blessed because I could pull up my DMs right now and read you three that just came in today. And
Aw.
it makes me emotional. It is the most incredible feeling. It is my purpose of being here on this planet is to help and inspire and allow women to feel like they have a safe space to just accept themselves. And more specifically, recently in the past couple of years, as I've been a lot more open and talking about things like having cellulite and being okay with it and actually wearing shorts and not hiding yourself in leggings and jeans all the time, specifically with that and with eating disorders and just having issues with eating, those are the most impactful stories that I get back is women because of my content they finally wore I've had so many moms and like not even older women in their 30s and 40s message me and say I haven't worn shorts since I was 16, and because I've been following you and because I've been following your friends and people like you and following more positive accepting people, I have realized that I have one life to live and it's okay if you have some
Yes.
bumps on the back of your legs and some stretch marks or whatever it is.
We all do. Oh
I
my
know.
gosh, I am like super thin and I have it. So like it doesn't matter your
Yeah.
size. If they don't, they're the
But
weird ones.
I
So
think it's important to mention too with that the key to especially if you're looking to build your audience online and if you're looking to use social media as a tool to your business, vulnerability is so important. And being vulnerable, I know it's scary. Yes, it comes easier to me just naturally, but there's still things that I have like boundaries on and limits on where I'm like still scared to talk about. But when you
yeah.
click post, I promise you, you will get more feedback and more positive feedback and more conversations started when you are more vulnerable about your journey or about your business or about whatever the case may be. And again, I know it's scary, but I promise it's one of the most rewarding things that you'll do.
I love that. I know my my team is like, Leah, you're not on there very much. And I'm like, I'm not. I mean, when you saying that, like, yeah, I have been afraid to really get. I mean, I'm honest and vulnerable on the podcast. Like, this is my medium, but putting it out there on social media has been a challenge. Like, it's really hard. I don't know if it's maybe this is an excuse, but like, my husband is so anti social media that like. I don't have the partner that will take pictures of me or support it. Like he's the most supportive, wonderful man ever. It's just that like he doesn't see the value in social media, and he doesn't like to be photographed, and he
Yeah.
doesn't like to post. So from like I'm trying to balance, like I want to have that valuable time with him, and I want to post about him because like I spend it every day with him. He's my favorite person. So I'm trying to
I
balance the
actually,
like
so I,
how do
very
I
similar. My boyfriend
really
hates
okay?
social,
Tell me your
so
secrets then. What do
he
you do?
hates social media. He doesn't, last time he posted on his social media was like 2 years ago. But
Josh has not. Okay, we've been married for 7 years. He has not posted on Facebook in over 7 years. Like
But
legit.
I actually, to be fair though, I love it. And I actually don't talk about, I talked about this recently on my social media. I don't talk about my boyfriend that much because it's something
Okay.
that is so, it's my safe space. It's because work is social media for me. So I love that our relationship isn't social media based, especially because when you post about your relationship on social media, you instantly open the door to opinions and
Yeah.
expectations. Like, oh, you haven't posted with him in this long. Like, are you still together? And I know you guys are married, so that's a little
Yeah.
different, but we've been together for 5+ years now. We're life partners. That's a done deal.
Yeah.
And I don't want there to ever be expectations. I don't want to feel like I owe anyone anything. And I want it to be my
Yeah.
safe space away from work. And so he loves he's like great at taking pictures for me when I ask him to, but he really isn't involved in my social media because it's my work. I kind of create that
Right. That
boundary.
makes sense.
But yeah, it's been difficult to kind of create that boundary with it because it can be kind of funky sometimes.
Well, thank you. I feel like you just mentored me today. So I will leave him out of it. I think that I just was like, but he is so much of my life. Like he is the person that believes in me and helps me, and like I just everything we do together. So, but what?
I
That's a good
think
point.
for
You
me
just
though,
have to
to be
leave the
fair, because
room
we
for
talked about
that.
this yesterday, I think creating Relic 96, the clothing company that we own together.
That was my
Well,
next question. Let's
that's a
talk
great
about that.
segue because that's been really great for me to integrate him into social media a little bit more because he is the other half to that business. And
Right. So let's pause real quick because I want you to be able to
okay,
explain
yes,
what Relight 96 is. So, okay, so you have tell us your other company. It's an events-based
yeah,
company. And then when quarantine happened and you were not able to, really pursue and grow that business, what came out of that time that you had?
yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit. So you have your business on Instagram, you're a coach, you're doing all these things, but you also created, and tell us about the retreat company, and then let's talk about how your new company that you started,
Yeah.
during
So me and my friend Michaela, Mixazon on Instagram, we have a company called the Rose Retreats, and we created it about 3 years ago. We do female empowerment retreats all over the world, actually, technically, because we went to Canada last year, or 2 years ago now. But yeah, we do events for women, and they are incredible. But we had to click pause because of COVID and all of that stuff. So we literally clicked the pause button, and that kind of freed up a lot of my time to create more content. But then I just felt like because I was creating so much content and everything was so social media based, like being at home on our phones all day, I was really craving being creative, like without any type of social media. And so I'm sure a lot of people have seen the trends of like bleach dyeing and tie dyeing kind of became really popular, like to do at home. And so I did it a little bit. And then before I knew it, everything in my closet became bleach dyed. And my boyfriend was like, you need to not bleach dye everything we own. How about you go to like Goodwill and get some stuff to bleach dye? And so I did, and I loved it. And I
That's
was kind of
hilarious.
sharing this on social media as I'm doing it. And people are like, can I buy that? Can I pay you for that? And I was like, sure. And so
Yes. The
we
entrepreneur in
did.
you was like, yes, you
I
can.
was like,
I will sell
yes, you
whatever.
can. And so, yeah, the entrepreneur in me was like, wait a second, there's a
There's
market
business
here.
here. Yep.
And
Love it. I
so
love it.
we are so blessed. We really have created an insane business in the past couple months. We do, and we're expanding now too. We do like graphic t-shirts, a lot of like sports teams and stuff. And now we're kind of going into like denim and flannels and stuff, and everything is eco-friendly because it's thrifted. And yeah, it's just like I'm like really big on being eco-friendly, and I'm a vegetarian, and that kind of stuff is really important to me too. So I love kind of bringing that into the business.
I
But
love that.
my stipulation, because my boyfriend was really the one pushing me to do this, I was like, I have so much going on, I can't do this too. And he was like, I will help you. And so
Awesome.
we own the business 50/50, and he does all of like the upload, because each piece is unique and individual, and so we have to upload a lot of stuff. And so he does all the uploading and pictures and stuff, and I do all of the creating and thrifting. And it's been really, really fun to like get away from social media and just be
I love it.
creative. And
And physically do something
yeah,
with your hands. I love
yeah,
that. And it's like, I wonder, like, how has that helped? So think about like, okay, you create digitally all day, and now you're also going and creating something with your hands and physically like creating and making something. Have you seen, does it help you when you go back in to create things digitally?
100%. I use it as like I almost still think of it as a hobby. Like it hasn't gotten to the point yet where it's like kind of like too much. And yeah, it's really been a way for me to like de-stress, and I'm able to like put in a podcast or an audiobook and make these shirts and like take pictures of them, and just be more creative in a completely different way than I'm used to. So yeah, it's been nice to kind of step away. And also, I think we talked about this yesterday, but I love being able to I've always sent people digital products. It's been like, here's the PDF or whatever,
Yeah.
or events or in person, but you're not like giving someone something physical. And so it's really cool to be able to like ship out a shirt or a pair of jeans or whatever, and then see people like wearing it and tagging you in it, and actually physically like getting something in the mail is really cool, because a lot of days that a lot of times these days we're moving more digitally, and everything's like super digital. And it's been
Yeah.
really nice to kind of almost do the opposite and take a step back and do things a little bit more traditionally.
I love that. So where can everyone find you on the socials? What, because you have a few businesses now. So where are all of your businesses, and where can we find you?
Yes, so my main page on Instagram is just Gabby Male, my name, super easy. And from there, you can kind of find everything. But Relic 96 is just Relic 96 on Instagram. And the Rose Retreats, we actually are doing a virtual retreat coming up here soon.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
and there will be more information about that. The Instagram on that is the Rose Retreats. Pretty simple. But if you go to my Instagram at Gabby Male, you'll see all of those links, and can check all of that stuff out. And I know I have a decent number next to my name, but I do pretty well with responding and seeing, I'd say like
Yeah.
85 to 90% of my DMs. And so if you have any questions or want to reach out or whatever, I'm always here to chat, and I love meeting new people. So send me a DM.
I love that. That's awesome. Well, I do want to ask just a couple more questions before we
Yeah.
wrap up. I just want to give you an opportunity to just, if like, pretend this is people meeting you for the first time. What is it that you want them to know about themselves that they can connect with you on? Like, what's your passion? Like, what's the thing that you want to like really give out to the world and want to be remembered by?
I want people to know that they can do anything that they set their mind to. And if you have a passion, if you have something that really just like excites you, and that you love, I really, really, I think my purpose on this planet is to give people that permission slip to pursue
Mm,
that, and give people that the confidence to follow their dreams, and to create whatever they want, and to do those things. And I have a tattoo on my spine. I got it in college when I was like really like adopting all of these kind of beliefs, I guess. And it's kind of cliche now, but it's the she believed she could, so she did.
I love
And
it.
but it really is like a big foundation of who I think I am. And I really do think like if I believe in something, I can do it, and I will do it. And if you adopt that mindset and try your best to silence the noise, I promise you, I mean, it's going to be so freaking hard, but you will get it done. But it has to start with believing in yourself, because if that's not there as your foundation, it's going to be a really rocky road.
Agreed. I mean, I think for years on the bottom of my email signature on my phone, it says empowering women and girls to be beautifully confident. Because if confidence is at the core of everything, and confidence comes from believing in yourself. And it doesn't matter how you grew up, like, you have to choose to believe in yourself, whether you had supportive parents or not supportive parents, or if you even had parents. Like, we've all seen so many success stories of people that come from nothing and make it, and make it huge. I mean, look at Tyler Perry. You know, I mean, he's one of like my favorite mentors. He just doesn't know it yet. But I love that you are so a woman believing in herself and really saying, hey, you can do it. And when people follow you, it is about loving themselves and saying, yes, it's great to have wellness. I just interviewed Triluna Wellness. They're a program that's like, they're anti-diet. I think you two would get along so well, but they're anti-diet. And the whole concept is, you know, we're all different. We have to love ourselves, and you have to love who you are and believe in yourself to have any kind of success in life or business. It does all start from internal belief. And then I love that it's like, believe in yourself. And what you did is you said, I look at the voices that are coming into me and seeing where I need to let those go. So it's like self-belief, you know, looking at who you're allowing to speak into your life and editing that, right? Like, and
Yeah.
that's a constant, right? Both of those are constant. That's not like you have belief and then you're done. And just being able to always say, hey, who am I allowing to speak into my life? And then how do I continue to love myself more? So I'm excited to continue to learn from you. You are wise beyond your years, and it's just an honor to get to know you. And I want you to end with how you define success for yourself today, because I know that has definitely changed for you over the years. So what does it mean to you today, and maybe how's that changed for you since you got started as a sophomore?
Yeah. So success used to look like, or at least I thought it looked like, a certain number, as far as like followers, or a certain number as far as a paycheck and a salary, or how much you're making, or a car you were driving, or how big square foot your house is. I think I was very materialistic, especially in college. And like when you start making money, it like you don't know how to really handle that. But as I've grown up, even though I'm only 24, I really now define success as how happy you are and how much gratitude you have in your life. And honestly, it just comes down to happiness for me. Like when I think of success, I think of like, are you happy? Because you can be Jeff Bezos, but is he happy? I mean, he's got a lot of money to make him get happy, but you know, it's like you can have all the money in the world, you can have the most successful businesses in the world, but you can be drowning in stress and anxiety. And my mom has MS, and I've seen her go through having such a successful career, but because she wasn't taking care of herself with stress and all of that, it all got ripped away from her. And that's a whole another podcast. But
We might have to have you back.
I think having that as a role model to look on to, because she was the breadwinner, she's the businesswoman, she's really someone that I've like modeled my life after. I've fortunately and unfortunately, in a way, been able to really take a step back and realize like I need to take care of myself. Am I happy? And like really just kind of getting centered with that, because at the end of the day, all the other stuff doesn't matter if you're not happy.
That's so true. Well, thank you so much, Gabby Male, for coming and blessing us with your presence and just your wisdom of how to take care of ourselves and how to grow a beautiful business by enjoying what you do and believing in yourself. So thank you, and I hope that everyone connects with you, and I look forward to continue to learn from you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was awesome.